last week. I was planning on chopping it up with my homegirl Britt, and then all of a sudden it was like, let me see. Oh shit! No. Yeah, all of a sudden the laptop that I'm trying to use so I can be able to do both. All of a sudden, that motherfucker. Damn, what the fuck this?
Sound like something else happening.
Yeah, but anyway,
See, I want to upload my desktop so I can get the dope backgrounds like that though, right there. Can't do that shit on the phone.
yeah, it be
Oh
having limitations
snaps!
when it comes to that stuff.
Got the little live on Facebook at the little top corner.
Yep.
I messed this with that. Hmm. Well, I gotta figure out how to charge my phone. Oh, I hold it to the side. Don't be on that side.
So that man, how's business thriving right now? How you doing with that?
Well, right now I'm doing some consulting. I consult two landscapers, so it's been going pretty good. They're at different speeds, is what I would call it. So one of them has like t-shirts and like a truck and all this other stuff, and the other one is like more of a startup. But both of them have their strengths, and I say uh, something I've been learning is depending on the person, it don't matter how it looks, it can still have its weakness. But it been feeling good. Like there's work every day. After this, I'm gonna go do some work. So I'm like, it's been cool. um, I don't know what we're gonna be talking about today, so I ain't about to jump into that. But I've been finding this pretty dope. Like people who's been finding work during this time of this scary COVID times. People who's been finding work and being active, I tend to get excited about. It. I'm like, man, I'm glad you're still doing something. I ain't think about that with me and this whole consulting thing that I'm doing, but I'm like, man, it's kind of cool that there's still something going on that I'm doing. I'm getting paid for it. It's not for free because I do a lot of free work or used to.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about that, man, because we learn a lot about ourselves. Like, man, I'm constantly out here being underpaid and to feel like I'm doing so much.
you know, it's a real thing. So it feels good to be getting paid for something. I can come back home and, I ain't got to tell my kids, like, oh, well, nothing came in. Like, at least something's happening. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to, obviously chop it up on some regular stuff, but I really, so, I've known you for a very long time, and I think that we all, we discuss things before, talk about our transition, and a lot we learn about ourselves, doing a lot of learning on the fly, right? And it's crazy
Basically,
now we're in our 30s,
this is true.
and
This is true.
try,
Man,
and trying to live this family life, but in the process of all that, the family life, relationships, things like that, there's a lot of growth and understanding when it comes to ourselves, the things that internally that's been brewing in us for a long time, and try to find ways to massage those things, and use them. I think even with you, for your transition to say, okay, post military, what is my next? What's going to be my steps, right? Because you didn't go back home.
yeah,
You
this is true.
decided to stay, and you decided to stay in California. So in the process, like, you've had to do, you've had to do a lot of building out there. You've had to build a
Basically,
lot of resources, relationships, and in the process, you learn a lot about yourself. I like, it's weird because would you be the person you are now if you were still in Wisconsin compared to you being out in California? Like
I be thinking about that, man.
because I think about the same
I,
thing since I've been here in Houston.
yeah, like, and and that's well, one thing, like I'm in entertainment industry, and the one thing in entertainment is like, if I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm a coach, right? I'm a consultant, whatever, and I'm like, hey man, like how you should look at your life is like, it's a movie, and like, who's the star of the movie that you're creating? You are. You're the star of the movie you're creating. So when I think about that, when we see movies and all that other stuff, everything comes to like chances and choices and chances. Like, we see like this hero, and we're just like, man, what is he gonna do? Like, it's usually about this. I think I relate that to my life a lot, in the sense of like, even when I was at home, in Wisconsin and Chicago, I had a choice to actually gang bang at the level that my family was in it. You know, I remember picking up the tradition, rolling around as a gangster disciple. But then I remember I was also the one who left the tradition, and I don't know anybody else in my family that did it the way I did it. But I did that at 8 or 9. It wasn't like when I got older and I had this crazy thing happen to me. But I don't know what made that choice, like that decision, that choice. But if that didn't even happen, would I have even joined the military? You know what I'm saying? To even come to Cali, to even do the, because I would have been so caught up in that street stuff or whatever if I made a choice to actually live that. So I be thinking about this all the time because, like, my family. But then when I came out here, I was like, would I have like been smart enough to do research on stuff like this, or would I have just got caught up in the sands of time, so to speak?
Yeah,
Whatever's being, you know. But I think about this all the time, man. And just in life in general, this happens at all types of levels. I like how you just followed up and you just said, yeah, I think about that when me being out here in Houston. Um, because I know a lot of people from where we from. If people look at my journey and my life story, it could seem like, oh, well, you one of the ones who, like, because these are movies. But to me, I'm like, I'm still like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's not because it's because time changes everything, and that's just in life in general. It has nothing to do with where you're from, what background you have, or anything. Technology, nobody knew what technology was going to do. And just because it did that, everybody had to react. Industries had to react. Relationship had to react. Like, all these things have to react. So, it didn't come down to like, oh, well, it's just because I'm from like the hood and I moved to Wisconsin and then I moved to like Cali for the military. But like, nah, it's just in any industry all the time. This is always happening, to where choices can define something so big later, but it could be like a little choice right now, and that's just so fascinating to me. But yeah,
sorry. I'm
oh no, I'm fascinated. I want to see what you see.
well, no, yeah, I'm trying to do this everything because Facebook, try to do the Facebook, you know, you know. I feel like the old head that's trying to be on the internet. Like, what's this on the phone? So anyway,
Was it? Let people know.
but I first and foremost, as we move forward, man, I have to say, like, I still connect with a lot of my friends as much as possible, and you know, to see everyone slowly but surely just trying to live their life, move forward, and learn from the mistakes and things like that. And like I'm proud of the man you've always been, the person you've become. But what was I feel like I never would expect it. I can't even say it like that, but it's like the 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 spiritual being you are now.
Mm,
I am so amazed at, like, man, you know what I mean? It's just like it's one of those things. Like, and what was it that got you to that point? Because it takes a lot to you to invest.
yeah.
It goes beyond just, helping, taking words and helping others. It has to be something you believe in, because when people know that you believe in it, that's what causes people to follow you and really get in touch with you and want to relate to you.
I like the way you just said that at the end, and thank you for acknowledging that. I don't want to not acknowledge that. I appreciate that coming from you, because I appreciate your awareness on how you can see something in people. Whether I appreciate that. And I think about this a lot, and you just said it takes a lot of time and effort and something you have to believe in to be able to do such to be able to how I look at it now. Like, I wouldn't have looked at it like this before. How I look at it now is it's a place of experience in life. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I've always been a person who wanted to experience life for the betterment of others. It's always been like, since I was like young, anytime my action would do something to somebody, I would watch it and be like, oh, if I do this action meant this. Okay, well, don't do that. But then my brain needed to understand why. Otherwise, it was like, well, why would you not keep doing it? So that understanding of why it motivated, because it wasn't like something I was just going, I'm a psychologist and I just want to understand. No, it was just like, nope, that action did that. Oh, since my brain will keep doing it, we need to understand why. And when I say we, when we like, I did this to myself. It's that I did this to myself. So there's two people in there. So when I say we, I'm just trying to address the wholeness of the person. So when I was younger, once again, I didn't have this language like I do now, but I'm gonna come to that. But when I was younger, I would just remember this, and so you just said something about believing, and when we think about how Martin Luther King Jr. moved people, it was because he believed in something, and then because he had so much belief in that, it pulled people to get inspired, and it moved uh, um, a civilization, or it moved a nation, or however you want to look at it, whatever you want to call it. But you know, but I want to say something to this language that we're using right now. What's crazy to me is I think what Martin Luther King Jr. had was faith, because he didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So faith is the key thing here. And whether it becomes a spiritual way, or like, if people understand this dude, Gary Vee, the reason I like Gary Vee so much is because I don't think he's very spiritual. But if you look at him, you'll be like, man, that dude, he can be a spirit, like a material spiritual person, you know? So it's not about being a spiritual person. It's about this having faith in humanity, so to speak, if I'm just talking to people. If it's having faith in humanity, that if I make the right decision, I'm going to be backed by humanity. If I make the right decision, I'm going to be backed by something. I'm saying humanity right now, but faith is that's about believing in the universe or the creator or God, right? So so I wanted to address that word, and like, because you have such an awareness on this stuff. I like how you sharpen the way people think by the way you speak. So I wanted to do like a little bit even more sharpening right there, just because that difference I don't think is always addressed, and I've just noticed this by talking to people. So now it's like, how did I get here? So I think about this too, and I'll say it in like the living way. So with that being in my childhood, just wanted to like be a better person for other people. So with that plus, I would say it started in, well, honestly, we could say it started in the military, so to speak, with this leadership training. Like leadership training just taught you like just how to structurally look at yourself, to look how you can be an inspiration to other people. You know, that's leadership training. How can I look at myself to be an inspiration to other people? You know, so they break it down. That's what leadership training. But it didn't have enough to it. It wasn't very spiritual like what you're saying right now. So for me, I was like, I like this stuff, but I was like, we're still missing something. Like if I took this, I always related things like if I took this back home, if I took this information back home, it would just make people really dope, but they still would be shitty to people, to each other, and they still would have that survival street stuff. So I was like, okay, there's something missing. So then I go to LA Film School. So fast forward, you know, I'm in the military 8.5 years, and then I get out. I go to LA Film School. So I go to LA Film School, and one teacher, this is a business entertainment. So I graduated with my music production degree, and then I went back for business entertainment. When I went back for business entertainment, I dropped out after 4 months. But right before that, this teacher, she played this 17, it was like a 12-second clip of this dude. And after I saw that 12-second clip, it drove me into this industry called personal development. And then I was like, this is a little bit more of what I'm talking about. And that 12-second clip was of this dude named Tony Robbins. She played a 12-second clip of Tony Robbins, and he changed how I experienced life. And I pay attention to that when it happens to me, and I pay attention to it structurally. So I was like, let me see what this is. So I dove into personal development, and I still was like, it's almost there. It's almost full. It's not complete. There's something else missing. So I kept diving into like, what's missing here? What am I saying that is missing? The inclusiveness that I feel when I'm talking to the inclusiveness that I feel when I'm talking to a stranger on the street, the inclusiveness that I feel when I'm like just doing anything, that's what's missing in like society on a base level. And this stuff can be looked at and taught of how to keep this alive. So this is what I was looking for at the time. Once again, I didn't know the language. So now we're coming to where I started getting the language. So now I started looking into like so Tony Robbins, personal development, something was missing. So then spiritualness started coming up. So I started looking into like the history of Christianity. I started looking into the history of like different religions, like Muslim, you know, all different types. And then I came across these Buddhist people. So I went to a Buddhist temple out here, and that was the closest thing out of all the religions, because it was like, we don't care what you are, just love people. And I was like, see, that's what I like. I was like, that kind of connect. So I think this was more close. So now I started diving into this, and then eventually it led me to what I've been reading up on a lot, which is all religions. Period. Hinduism has a lot of science on how we work as people, and you know, I'm an actor too, so I get excited about how we as people. But you know, that's been my journey. It's literally been that to me. I had to break this down for myself, because I was like, where does this come from? You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, it just comes from us connecting with our true nature. Once we connect with our true nature, it's like a perspective. I don't know, for me as an experience, my perspective is widened for the like going back to the word humanity, because that's the closest word I can think of. But my perspective eye widens for humanity's purpose. And when you take action through that lens, through that filter, it looks like an open, vulnerable person, no matter what I'm doing. Because I can still go out, I can still, you know, I still have a beer or two. I even smoke sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So, but people be like, you know, when I get around people, people try to put it away almost, because they feel this energy. I didn't people, oh, I get it. It's an energy about me that makes people want to be like, no, let's not do this around him. You know, people do this. I'm like, man, you don't like that, man. Come on. Because it's coming from a different space. It's not about what we're doing. It's about how we're experiencing life, and how we're gonna, I don't know, allow that to exit our body. I don't know if that makes sense, by the
Yeah,
way.
And I do wonder through everything, like what has been the biggest challenge for you? Like the challenges when it comes to because look, we all can agree that once upon a time we've had this um so you know how like someone might be a hopeless romantic when it comes to relationships and things like that. And so then you take that same concept and you do it when it comes to humanity, people, right?
Respect.
So it's like I'm a hopeless romantic of humanity and people. Like I feel like people are much better than they think they are, or what history has shown what has happened. And as you get older, you're more likely been beaten mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in many cases, people physically,
Makes sense.
to have people have doubt. Like, no, man, people is trash, man. There's no hope. You know what I'm saying? So so because you've made a decision to connect with people on so many different levels,
Yeah.
I know that there's been cases of inconvenience for you because either two things
Respect.
can happen. You feel like people are taking advantage of what you're trying to do, or you feel like you are wasting your time on something where you can invest that in somewhere else, in something else.
Yeah.
And what has been the challenges for you, and how have you
I
been
hear
able
you.
to fight through those challenges?
See, that's a really good question. And Mo, I'm gonna need like really get this, do something with this. That's a really good question because of like the how you worded it, and you were very specific with it. And here's what I mean by that. You said, I mean, it's either it could feel like somebody's taking advantage of you, or you feel like you're wasting your time. This is very true, and this has probably been the most challenging thing for me. I'm happy that mine has not been. I've never felt like anybody's taking advantage of me, and I think that's where my strength comes from. As far as I think that's the importance of knowing who you are. That's the self, understand your true nature. I couldn't understand that somebody was taking advantage of me because I just knew this is what I was supposed to be doing. But am I making the wrong moves? The mistakes that have come up over and over in different ways. And I'll just give it like an example of somebody. So I'm in California. I'm out of the military. I've been acting. I've been helping people for a while for free. And so me and Laura, the mother of my kids, we're not together. And me and her, we're like going through communication situations to where it was straining our relationship a little bit. Even though we're not together, but we're trying to be good parents to our kids. So we didn't have like some crazy breakup. It was all smooth people. So, but I'm saying all that to say, so at this point in my life, I stopped helping. I'm trying to stop helping people for free. But as a giver, like say this all the time, as a giver, it's hard to stop trying to help people, right? So at this point in my life, I'm like, I could have been wasting my time. Like my family, they don't have no funds coming in like on a regular. Like I'm still living check to check, like da da da. But I've been doing this for like 10 years, right? So I'm like, oh man, I don't know. So then I meet this one dude, right? I meet this guy, and like he's down and out. He got shot in the head at one point, and I meet him because I was just going to this store, and he said, "Hey man, can you help me get my medicine?" I said, "What medicine?" So this is how I meet this person. Found out he's homeless. He takes the medicine because the thing in his head had been bothering him. So I'm helping this dude. Turns out to be a rapper, um, and like a barber. So I'm helping him, and then I let him sleep in my car and all this other stuff. And then just like I talk to anybody, I'm giving him knowledge on like how to like get into his brand. I coach actors, so I'm like, this is how you get into the entertainment industry this way because he shoots film and he wants to be an actor. So I'm doing all this. And this around this time, Laura is wanting to come back to live with me because so we can take care of our kids together. So now she's she's there with me, and this person is there, and I'm helping him because I'm like, oh, he's gonna be the one who's gonna his music. You know how music is. You can do it in your at your house, in your little corner, whatever you want. So I was like, you got the music thing, you got the barber stuff, you make money through this. If you listen to me, this is gonna blow up. So that's what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm doing all this, and I do this for like. I told him I was gonna do it for like a month. So at this point, it's like 2 months. He starts blaming me for his downfall and the situation he's in, and he just keeps doing this. And I'm sharing this with Laura, and Laura don't like this. And she's just like, "You've been doing this for free all this time, and now you're supposed to be stopping, and now you said he's gonna start paying you at some point, so he's not paying me." So at these moments, so at this point my kids are in the house. She is there. This is important, but this is a calling for me. So me trying to understand what is happening here is important for me, because what I've noticed every time, so this at this moment I could be like, oh, this dude is like clearly just trying to take advantage of the situation. Now he's blaming me, like he's not saying thank you. He doesn't say thank you very often. He's just like, he'll say thank you, and then like shortly after it'll be like, I don't know if you really hear from me, man. Like I think people kind of been doing me dirty all my life because he was homeless and all this other stuff. So there's a struggle there. So I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, this is where I find empathy with people. I go, you know what? You've been through some stuff. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna blame you for feeling that. But if it keeps happening as a pattern, and then you can see somebody's only helping you the whole way, even my empathetic brain starts going, all right, well, bro, now, I mean, you paid for dinners for him. You let him come in your house and take showers. All these things. Like, when is it? When do you say too much is too much? When do you say I have to stop? When do you. So when this happens in somebody like a giver, this is when we freak out. Like, oh shit! Now I feel like I'm about to be a dick by telling this person I need to stop. So when that is the hard that used to be the hardest moment for me. I figured it out. Just keep blunt straight up forward with somebody like a giver. If you know that you're gonna pour your all into it, you gotta let them know up front,
Yeah.
and then really set that time frame. But for me, that has been the hardest thing, because at moments like that, I wanted to. That was a moment where I felt like I could have done what I didn't at least like to see in other people, which is be like, man, fuck you, man. Like I can't believe, like I really want that feeling really came in me. I don't like that. But I had to figure out a way past that, and the way past that now is like with the landscaper who is more new, so to speak. I started with him first, and what I did was I just started with the language of like, uh, I'm somebody who can be taken advantage of easily. I do this and that, so I'm going to give my all for this much, but don't be offended if I feel like I have to stop. And I just have to live with that truth, so to speak. It still hurts, by the way. It still feels like I feel like I'm letting somebody down. What I'm saying is we can't let that dictate our future when we know we can have growth in our future. Because that's the route I'm on now. I'm just about planting seeds so that we can just water them, put them in the right amount of sun, and just see them grow. So that's what I'm doing now. And if people don't understand that, I have to come to grips with going, not everybody's going to see it. You know, they uh they assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. They put Jesus on the cross. Like everybody ain't gonna be happy. She's trying to just help people, and they did all that. So not everybody gonna be happy, and it's not always fun. But that's a whole different conversation. But I'm very optimistic for humanity, and that's where that faith comes in. I trust that if people see me doing something quote unquote right, they will actually be inspired by that. I really believe that.
So, how do you know when to be selfish?
Um, you know, in a big way, I was so this is about to be like so I go by Blu Yogi, and then the Yogi is the side that's about to come out right now, the whole spiritual side. But honestly, about to mess people up. you be ultimate selfish. You be ultimate selfish. Right now, Mo wants to see the world at a peaceful place for the future of maybe his kids or just a future generation. Period. Take that as an ultimate selfishness and be like, that means I have to. I'm sitting here watching a Nipsey Hussle documentary right now that somebody had released. The reason I like this man so much is that he was just saying, like, even as a youngin, when he was first getting into the rap game, he said, all these chains and stuff, those are liabilities, those aren't assets. He was saying that from the get go when it wasn't cool, and it still ain't really cool in the industry. I'm telling all my brothers and sisters about this stuff, and people kind of, so it still ain't really cool. So you have to be so selfish that you have to live that. You have to be so selfish that you can see it, that you have to live it. So but just to answer it in the way that I know you were asking it, it is very difficult for us not to have that selfish, when should I be selfish feeling, like that. Oh well, I'm about to do this for my kids over that person. You know what I'm saying? Like that moment, it's like, should I just, for instance, if I feed my kids every day, on this one day when I see somebody kind of hungry, like my kids were kind of hungry all day, um, and I just bought them something, and then somebody else comes up and be like, "Oh, I'm just hungry. I haven't eaten in a couple of days." Blah blah blah. Now my kids is like, it's like my daughter, like she's hungry as heck right now. You know what I'm saying? She's been hungry all day, and I finally was able to stop. Now I could just be like, hey, sorry, sir. My daughter's kind of she's been hungry all day. That's all I got. I gotta give it to her. I gotta keep going. Or I had a chance, a moment to be like, let me get this to this person. So I'm gonna take it from that space. So from this space, it's the capacity in which, like, we have to understand our ability, our capacity to give. I know in this moment, so let's say for me, in most cases, most people will see me give it up. Why? But why would they see that? Why Blue? How do you just know that? And other people, I would say you shouldn't do that. You know. But why would I say that? I'm saying that because I know my capacity to need outside things. What I mean by that, I know, like, if I didn't have this house, Blue would be okay. Mentally, spiritually, I would just be joyful. You'll still see me coming to your house like, hey man, they took the house. And you'll be like, man, whoa. And I'm like, don't worry about it. You're like, no, yeah, don't worry about it.
What do you mean?
you know, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to worry about it. So what I'm trying to say is, because my materialistic urges are very low and I'm aware of it, my capacity to just give up something could be a little bit more than somebody else's. As in, because this isn't about a good or bad thing. I don't want people to associate with having had like me knowing that I really want some of these things for my ear. That isn't a bad thing, but it's just like you know where it's coming from. Know where it's coming from. So for somebody else, they might say, well, I know I need bills, and I haven't had this type of relationship with my kids in a while, and I really got to have this moment with them to let them know that, oh, hope and faith is alive. I need them to have hope and faith in me so they can have hope and faith in themselves. Now, if you're at that moment, don't give it up, and but don't be a dick to the person. Try to at least say something with humility and compassion. you know. But there's different levels to the shit, as Meek Mill will say. um, but in a spiritual way, go selfish all the way. I know you want to see it. Most people just want to be happy and see their kinfolk happy. Most people just want to be happy and see their kinfolk happy, and not have to worry about all this bills and all that stuff. So financial freedom and happiness is what most people are looking for, and financial freedom only because that's what the world is set up as. Imagine if finances and economics wasn't the number one thing on our planet. Most people wouldn't be worried about it. But because it is, people are worried about it. So this okay. But I'm saying Blue is still not worried about it, even though it's the #1 thing on our planet. I don't give a damn. So it makes it easy for me to go complete selfish all the time, always. But to other people's capacity, I don't want you to be complete selfish always, all the time, always. I need Mo to take care of him and his wife because he's building a relationship right now sometimes. So don't do it at that time. But this person shows a certain amount of if a person comes to you and you can tell that they have a humanity ear that is open wide like yours and other people who you're trying to build a community with. Now that type of person, even if they don't have much, that type of person, maybe this is a time for you to just show that you can do that because then you'll get something in return from the universe. So how do we judge it if it just comes in my face? Oh, well, this person, I can feel that this person has an open, okay, now I'll sacrifice this thing in this moment. Oh, well, this person, I can tell that they're nice, but, at the same time, they might not have all the way open. So I'll give this or I'll do this. I would say, and this is from my own perspective, but from our job is to raise our self awareness and help other people raise that self awareness, and we do that through kindness, compassion, and empathy.
So let's take 2003, 2004, 2005. And I think you did it, but when Harden made us do like a 5-year letter, did you do a 5-year
Oh
letter?
yeah, I did, man. That was crazy.
And so when you finally was able to establish yourself in Madison, what was the game changer in your life? Like for example, for me, I'm trying not to say it on a extreme level, but I feel like Madison saved my life, right?
Mm,
Um, when I finally left Milwaukee to go to Madison, uh, late middle school years, I was able to see what better could be looks like.
right.
I was able to see consistency. Um, Now there's things under the surface, obviously, and you don't really think about when you're younger, but when you're older, we still have a lot of friends that live in Madison to talk about the things they're dealing
Yeah.
with now, right? But you don't really think about that when you're younger. It's no different than if you grew up living in the hood. You just think like, oh, okay, this is normal, this is the hood, and you get older, it's like, no, it's so many different things and strings being pulled to why these things are the way they are. But I feel like when I moved to Madison, I really didn't care to go back to Milwaukee on weekends when mom went to go visit. Why? Like I
Mm,
spent most of my life there. I know what's up. I know what's there. Yes, my dad's there, my auntie's there, my grandma's there. But I just looked at it like, I just want to be around some type of peace and consistency, right? That's something that
yeah.
Madison had for me mentally, emotionally. Like I was like, because no one wants to do you know voluntary sadness. Like as soon as you hit the like, ugh, you hit the block like,
I like that. Yeah.
so, um, but what, and I guess this kind of feeds into everything where we are now because I tell people about the things that I've done since I've been in Houston when it comes to Unite Here, Local 23, the hospitality industry, the organizing the fight that we've been putting up for to try to change a narrative for Texas being a blue state or being a unionized
Yeah.
state, right? And you kind of have to deal with the struggle of really, it goes beyond just taking the horse to water and drinking. Like you actually have to take the horse to the water and put the face in the water. Like, no, you thirsty,
Mm,
fam. You know what I'm saying? So, but
right.
that put a lot of wear and tear on me.
Yeah.
And so I feel like my selfishness really kicked in a couple years ago. Well, I just really said, "Fuck it, I'm just going to," like because you spend so much time. Look, it's bad enough I can't swim. So imagine like from just uh, from a metaphor, like you saving everybody from drowning, but you can't even save yourself from drowning, right?
Yeah. That right there.
And so, what was something that was a game changer for you? Even through the imperfections compared to where because remember, you've moved, we've moved
Yeah,
various times. So what was the game changer for Madison? Because Madison was our last stop before we turned 18,
yeah,
compared to where
yeah,
other places we could have been. You could have been in Chicago until you was 18. You could have been out in Oregon until you was 18. You could have been out in Adams Friendship. You could have been
yeah,
all these different
man.
places before you're 18, but you landed in Madison and was able to be, graduate '05 and just, you have, Hardin that really, pushed us to do certain things when it comes to theater and acting, instead of like looking at sports as always this thing, right? Because look where we are now. So what was the game changer
Yeah,
for you to, that you've learned that you can look back and like, man, you could be glad, or you're like, I wonder this and wonder that.
yeah. You know, that's another good question. Like I'm gonna look at it two ways, and I'll do the short one first. The short one is um basically when I think of Madison, I think Wisconsin as a whole. Like going from Chicago to Wisconsin, that diversity. Like I like how you said it when you said it made me see something that something this how better could look and da da da, right. For me, that diversity did whatever that was for you, right. That me just being able to see that, it made me go, oh, like we can really be anything, I think, so so on one layer, just when I hear Madison, I think it's just Wisconsin as a whole. But then just Madison, what Madison did for me, is it was those dealing with Harden, um I just never knew what acting was, man. You know what I'm saying? Like as an experience. And like so, what that did was it set me up to start realizing what passion and purpose could mean without me really knowing. So when I go back and look back on it, I go, oh snap. And like what you started with the 5-year letter, just even doing something like that, it was just crazy experience in that moment because, you know, when I got it back, I was in the military. And the stuff I said about the entertainment industry and like my relationship with Jenny at the time, because that's another thing what Madison did, Jenny. So
I was trying to hold in my laugh so hard. Like I was trying to, you just nod your head like, yeah, man, yeah, it was a process.
but it helped me understand some things that I needed to understand about relationships. So all these things changed me. Um, so I guess those are the biggest impacts. It was like it made me be able to live as a future person that I didn't know I can live as. So Mr. Harden did that by believing in us, for instance, and telling us to do those tournaments and like that Durang play. Like I was in 5 different things, and like it was really cool exercising that. And like when we did uh, One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, like that, it did something to me as like an experiencer of life. So, but before I knew the language that I know now. But back in the day, I remember going through that and going like, man, this is like what we like. This is this is cool right here. And then like the heartache side of it, Jenny. Even though if people know me during this time, it was a very rough time, me and Jenny. Um, but what it did was is once again having that eye of humanity. I never looked at her as a bad person, which is what I think that was. I didn't know that that was good back then. You know, People just thought I was just naive and it's crazy. Which I understand. But what that did for me was because it was a genuine thing. It wasn't like I knew I knew when things wasn't good. I wasn't naive to something not being good. I just then wouldn't call her a bad person. um, but what that did was is I saw that our relationship through the eye of, oh, this is what her relationships could look like if we don't resolve stuff within ourselves. And when I was able to see that right away, led me to not um, it led me to not allow myself to fall into another relationship just because of some one layer or two layer stuff, aka like the physical body, or just because, oh, she like the same stuff as me, because most stupid people do that. She just got a nice body, and that's the only reason you're gonna be with this person. But it really made me sit down and go like, who cares? But so yeah, Harden, Jenny, and just like our experience as just like friends, like Renee, Renee's my oldest friend, and then it's like you, because Oregon was right before Madison. Um, but our friendship, it taught me a lot, especially in high school, especially you. I remember hearing you first talk. I remember hearing you first talk in some class, and I like this dude, but I think he talks funny a little bit. Um, and I don't know why that stood out, but I remember us just, you know, like how our friendship had formed, and then like for me, that was the first time I really had a friendship like that because I moved every year. So you being like literally my oldest male friend, it means more than just my oldest male friend because you also grew up in high school together. So dealing with those 16, 17 ages, it's just something special. Like going, like, oh, my bro, like he was back there with me during that time. I could call you when the car got stolen. I called you at 2 in the morning. Like, man, you was there,
Fam, we
bro.
was we was on a search that night for that whip.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
That's
It's a lot,
cool.
man. Yeah, I
Anytime, like
it's
any
just
problems that came up, if I called and like I just want to come over your house, man. Like you and mom, y'all just let me. That was cool. You
fam.
know.
It's just I'm not gonna talk about the story publicly, but it's one thing, one story I would never ever forget. And I was actually telling Sarah about this recently. I was like, you don't know how far I walked, like in the snow. Anyway, so
Man.
but I like, yeah, relationships, friendships are it's important. Um, when you have platonic women friends, um, and even if you've kind of had something, but you still had like a respect, the love factor, and things like that. Those things are very important, and uh, it's interesting because I know people really hold those ships tight because of sometimes it stirs from struggle, or you know um, it stirs from moments of harsh times and things like that. But and I really value those things. So I think, do you have guilty pleasures? Like, do you still like do you still like doing ratchet things with doing ratchet things with your friends? Like,
You
I
know what? That's funny.
because
Go ahead.
there
I'm
are
about to
people
finish.
who, for example, think about you, Martin Luther King, right? You, Martin Luther King, you're this all everything, right? You
Yeah.
are. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised. Besides, maybe some of the other people, there are some people that looks at, if they're a religious person, they look at however they view God and Jesus, and it's Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
right? So obviously you have,
Yeah.
but and I always joke around it. I feel like if Martin Luther King was around today, I feel like people will be different because social media, like, you can't always be perfect for some reason. Like, if you have something
Yeah.
wrong with your game, they just treat it like, anyway. But
Yeah.
I know he had moments where, like, man, I'm out here just being almighty great, trying to put a mirror up to white people to understand they're guilty of a lot of things, that they can be better. I'm trying to raise my people to the promised land. I'm trying to do all these things, keep a perspective. And I know he's just like, yo, sometimes I just want to, like, smoke a blunt drink a 40. You know what I'm saying? I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to play ding dong ditch. Like I know, like come on now. Like there are people
So
who, yeah.
yeah, no, um, I do, and it's crazy because I can see why it's easy to keep them around, but when you get to a place of this openness that I'm gonna start talking about, it's like you don't want to do them. It's like they're just pointless and worthless, you know. But you know that guilty pleasure thing, it goes from being like a guilty pleasure of something that's just negative in general to a guilty pleasure in something that's just fun still. So an example for me, my guilty pleasures, it did go from like just going like um just going out to just drink and smoke with my friends just because it's a social thing, to now my guilty pleasure is going skydiving with
Oh, you're a different breed.
my friends. But you know, it'd be something like extreme and crazy, but you know, it's just not. It doesn't have to be, you know, the usual terms of guilty pleasures. Is what I would say.
Yeah.
But they become more like if I have a moment, like almost this was a guilty pleasure because we didn't plan a specific topic. You know, this is like, but I know that if we talk, something good can come from it. But at the same time, like I told you earlier, you know, I got my landscape and stuff, so I should be going and whatever. So this is almost a guilty pleasure for me because it wasn't planned. Like when I don't have something that I'm doing, that's when my guilty pleasures kick in. I watch anime. You know, like I'll just watch anime sometimes. So they become light. They become light and not damaging to humanity. So that's what happens when this openness comes. But I do still have those urges because I what I tell people is if there's 1%, there's 100, and what I mean by that is I'm not enlightened. You know what I'm saying? But um, I do understand personality and ego to a point to where I can see mine enough to where I could play with mine. I'm trying to get people to stop suffering from theirs. I just want you to be able to play with your ego. I don't want you to have to suffer from it. So, that's my mission now. But because I'm not enlightened, so to speak, or realized, that's what they call it, or Christ consciousness, however you want to look at it, because I'm not there, that, it still comes up in me like, hey, man, hey, I got a baby on the way, you know what I'm saying? That wouldn't have happened if it was, in a different place.
Yeah.
So it still comes up, and it's my choice, though, to react to it or not. And that's why I like the space change.
So do you have time for one more, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to rewind to relationships real quick because I'm in the current situation where I plan on getting married early next year. Still crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Great, man.
You know, the thing about me is I'm not a type of dude that belong to the streets. It's just I don't. And people have always had this assumption, Ramon, you the relationship guy. No, I'm not real. I am more of the like I'm just chilling guy. Like, it's just I'm not gonna do anything to jeopardize anything. It's just like I don't sometimes I don't like the idea where like you want to have companionship, you want to have the friendships, but sometimes I really like my internal freedom and I don't have to be forced to obligated
Mm,
right or wrong about something.
that.
Because, you know, like that's the one thing that maintains me. I feel like I can move the needle regardless of where I go. And I don't, and so for example, you and I have legit, like we've built good friendships with many women, right? And sometimes and I know it can become a debatable thing, like when I hear about people's view in relationships, or even when you look at the relationships like enter inside of racial relationships, like when people are talking about black men and black women, I am not down on these things to have strong opinions about things. Like I don't, my view on women is not extreme on a level because there are a lot of there are many examples of women I've seen do some fucked up shit. I just look at it as it's
Right.
not going to necessarily change my middle or where I am, you know. But there, I understand why people feel strongly one way or the other because of experiences and
Yeah.
things like that. So, but I feel like I think people still, it's the same way I feel like when people, how people are when it comes to the materialistic things to help them when it comes to identity. You know, like how people will protect a flag or something like that. And it's like you, it's like because they think it ties into identity, and I have a problem with that. It's like, fam, you know, like your identity is who you are for yourself. I don't need to say, oh, this flag represents me because
Yeah.
it represents rebel and the proud. But like, no, like because what it does is usually in most cases it used in a negative manner to shield people who they really are.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like how I view like me in relationships, like I have a lot of women friends that I'm still cool with. I can chop it up with, but I still keep my arm's length. Not because I'm not necessarily instead of, you know, Sarah don't have to worry about those things. It's just like just natural in a relationship. You kind of like you don't want to be all in someone else's face like that, you know. But I still like the ability where if I want to, hey, I can hand clap, show love, oh so no, with no
Yeah.
real like questions. Like because I number one, I naturally like seeing people thrive and do well. I want to, you know, and it's been interesting because here and there when I haven't talked to certain people in a while and I start chopping up with them, they tell me the shit that's going on. I was like, damn, I came around the right time. Like, you know, because they've been wanting to open up to someone they can trust and talk
Right.
about some things they've been through. And so, you know, I'm already a person where I feel like relationships are kind of overrated. I'm already a person where I feel like the friend zone is underrated, right? Like I'm that because people don't look at the concept of why I feel that way, right? I don't,
Right.
you know, the same way when it comes to Sarah. I tell Sarah all the time, if something happens, I think she has expectation for me to react a certain way. Number one, because I think that that's how she would react if I did the same thing.
Hmm.
So it's just like you pushing that agenda on someone else because that's what you do. But I say I don't benefit
Yeah.
at all by shitting on you. I don't. Like how
Right.
do I expect someone to give me all their love and appreciation and care and everything else if I shit on you? Because that doesn't benefit me. Like selfish doesn't benefit me because I'm not. You're slowly gonna take away that love that you want to give to me. You feel
Yeah.
hesitant because of how I am towards you. And number two, that's not really helping you. That's not even close to helping you. First and foremost, it's not helping her at all. You know, I'm with you because I want to help build you and be with you and see you at your best consistently, right? And so, but the reason why I feel like relationships are overrated is I always tie it when it comes to jobs. I've said this plenty of times before. When it comes to a job, let's say you've been asking, I've been wanting to work this job. I've always wanted to work. Oh my God, please, this job will get me so far in life, and I'll do so many things when I have this job, and I will invest all my time in this job. And so when you finally get that job, you're not going to be coming in work late. You're not going to be getting on work's nerves. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to be pissed away.
Right.
You're
Right.
not going to do anything to jeopardize you to lose your job. But in the process, I've seen there are people who've done that when it comes to relationships because of love.
Mm.
And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't understand why people do that. What, you know, and I understand that people have the insecurities. Some people are trying to protect themselves because things happened in the past. But I know you are your own person, but you are willing to open arms, even with the people
Yeah.
you've been with individually. But you've always had to fight with this idea, like, look, I'm here, but like you've had to fight with some insecurities on different levels where it's like
Yeah.
like where it's like I think when people it's kind of best example when I say how love is like constipation. The more you force it, the more it hurts. Like you've been dealing with some very constipatedly loved people that want
Yeah.
you are love me, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
I will let me just stop trying. You are doing more damage being how you are than you allowing me to why you wanted to be with me in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So, how have that been for you, especially post high school?
Oh man.
And everything else, especially now where you have two kids, you've had the tug and pull with Laura and everything.
No, like that's a you know, you hit the the thing that needs to be focused on the head, which is I'm still dealing with this. Like I was literally having a conversation with Laura yesterday about this. Okay, so I become more calm in how my approach is, and I become more strategic in my approach, and I become more like the words I was using earlier, which is empathetic and compassionate. But that's because for me it did start in high school, obviously, because you saw how, hey, I broke up with one of them. Hey, y'all can all come. Like each one of them wants to kill me, but hey. So dealing with
Culture
that
boy,
on
yeah.
different levels, right? So the thing to focus on. So I'm talking to Mo. I'm not telling this to nobody else, right? So this is going to be specifically to my homie Mo. So the world earmuffs.
Hey,
um,
hey, world, you're good.
um, so I would say like if I'm talking to Mo, like understanding that identity is decided by what it can attach itself to is very important. Identity needs something to attach itself to in order to survive. It's like the coronavirus is not a full life. The coronavirus needs a host to live. That's why when we killed all the animals, it jumped over from animals to humans. It needs a host to live. So identity needs a host to live, but the host in this case is the things on what we call the outside, aka, um, hey man, I got a lot of silver. I identify with wealth. Since I got silver, I know I'm the shit. Relationships. Oh well, if I know I can get you to fight for me, I know that I'm worthy. My identity is on like what a worthy woman looks like. So then our identity, however we can stretch our identity, that's what I want to talk about next. So for Mo needs to understand it because Sarah might not understand this. Your friend next door might not understand this. This is what my work comes into play. I'm trying to get this spread out because this is the part that people don't know. And when we find people who can um, really Philistine this part, we just thank them. It's not part of regular humanity right now, is what I'm going to say. That's why I'm just talking to Mo. Because you pointed out the identity is like, why do people need to attach to identity something? This is why. Identity cannot survive if if I took all your memory away and everything. One, you would you call yourself Mo? No, I took all your memory away and everything. You'll just be empty. So if I did that and then raise your energy up to its highest peak, the energy will leave the body, but it wouldn't leave the body as Mo or nothing. The thing that keeps so our energy can still get raised high. That's what we call that spiritual energy. So we can still raise our energy high. But if the identity doesn't attach to something, you're going to leave your body. And that's what we call dead. You'll die because you're so ecstatic. There's people who's left their body like this. So I just went too advanced. That was an advanced part, but let me just reel it back. I'm reeling it back. What I'm trying to tell Mo is Mo just needs to understand that is an understanding that most people won't understand. And because you brought it up, that means you can feel a standard somewhere, but it doesn't mean it's going to translate all the way logically. So it should not mess up the future relationship. But if I could make this understanding, now I can at least bring it up because this is how Laura has been growing. I stay chill. I just bring up what's happening. I don't even like you, Laura, because I'm not confused by identity. I appreciate our energies being able to fuse with each other and not mess up. As you also said, stand in my middle. In Zen Buddhism, they call this the middle way. Stand in my center, my middle. So that's important. Does Mo need to be a DJ in order to stay in his middle? Nope. When Mo's in poverty and all down, does it take him out of his middle? Not necessarily. Mo can remain in his middle not because of identity. Mo can remain in his middle just because Mo has realized the true nature, just not as specific as Blue is what fucking wording it. I appreciate people who realize their true nature, is what I'm trying to say. Because you don't need anything to stay there, you're a yogi. But most people aren't going to understand like how I'm even joking around about this right now. But that's how, but I still deal with it. I wish Laura can just come on and just talk about it from her perspective, because I would be curious to hear from her perspective. But from what I've been hearing from her is that um, she appreciates the non-aggressiveness through my meaning, because sometimes I can feel aggressive, because when I get passionate I'd be like, man, why you gotta do this? I can't believe that there, so I can feel like I'm being aggressive. But she now understands that that's not aggressive. She just understands this, oh, this dude has like some energy in him, but I need to sit down and hear what he's saying now. It wasn't always like that, like that just started happening. And our daughters, she just turned 12. So we've been around for a minute.
Man, I'm telling you right now, what you just said about Laura, there's a lot of men out here like, yo, she actually understand what you trying to say. She see and appreciate these things. Teach me. Teach me how you taught her. Like, oh, she did all that stuff, but teach me what you taught her, please. Anyway.
No, I get it though. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to you. I was sitting there time thinking like this lot of dudes probably gonna hear this like, I need my girl to be on her level right now.
What did he just say?
I told her 2 + 2 is 4. She cussed me out.
Man.
She's like, what's your age? 2 + 2 is 4. You like, baby, it is though. Anyway. And it comes to you later. My friend said that 4 comes to be when you have 2 and 2 together. You like, I just
And that's it, and literally that's what's happening right now.
Yeah,
it
can be a lot.
Sitting here next to her, and yeah, so sometimes that happens. So I joke around with her about this, and yeah. I'm hoping we can like have an interview like this and be able to talk about it. Maybe you can interview both of us or something. But,
yeah, I think that'd be dope, man. Like I said, man, I really enjoy doing these things. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Like I'd be like, I can finally take something. I've always wanted to work for an official company. I was like, man, fuck this. I'm doing this on my own. So
there it is.
But man, let me let you get to your things. And I can't really say I got some things to do, but I do have something to do. It's just getting on it. But man, it's always love on the side, man. I really appreciate you. I'm proud of you, man. Keep thriving. Did you feel the earthquake this morning?
No, I didn't actually. It's rare when I feel these things. I hear this a lot. I don't know, man. I felt one or two earthquakes out here before. One when I was sleeping, and then the other one there's a random time. But no. What size was it? Did they say?
Size what?
What size earthquake was it?
It was like a 4.5.
Oh shit! I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if an earthquake was going on. I'm just sitting here walking. Like,
the house just sitting there shaking. You sit there just looking around.
Yeah,
they said it was 2 of them.
When it had happened.
Yeah, I heard it was like 2 of them. It was like a smaller one and then another one. But yeah, that shit's scary.
No.
Yeah, you just like, But man, please, man, be safe, and we'll be able to connect soon.
For sure, man.
I've been trying to do one-on-ones and the mental health power hour stuff and trying to figure that out. And then this business class I was part of, the EEOC, the EEDC, yeah, something like that. We have a lot of entrepreneurs or small businesses, so I was kind of doing a thing called entrepreneurship during a pandemic. So I'm planning on connecting with them. They're really excited. A lot of people here in Houston area. Black-owned businesses, so it's gonna be real dope. So I just, like I said, I've been really looking forward to these things and be around some really smart people, man. Because like, I be saying stuff, I'm like, man, like I be thinking I'm really smart until I'm around other people, which I feel better about myself. Like, man, maybe there are some other very savvy, intelligent people out there. So I just want
to get around those people.
Yeah, I just want to bring the bridge together, and like you said, you know, what I'm saying how you did that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate what you're doing because that's it's I can see it happening already.
Yeah,
Hayward was really proud of that connection,
yeah, man.
and
Yeah, man.
I
I got
think
to connect with Hayward again
that's gonna
soon.
keep happening.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I appreciate you, and just everybody get this stuff right now. Silver's going up right now in price. Time to get some.
Oh man, Silver
Own
is.
some wealth. Yeah, own some wealth.
If
Get
you like
some.
Kodak too, no, it's fair. Kodak going anyway. So all right, man. All
All right, man.
right, man. You be safe, man. Holla.
Hey, be safe, bro. Peace.
Holla.